Recording in progress.
Should I start or should I wait?
Om Shanti, good evening, sister.
Om Shanti, brother.
Yeah. Dr. Bindukuti will just welcome all. Then I'll introduce you, then you can start your speech. Just a second.
Very good afternoon and a warm welcome to you all. Greetings from Nimhans. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all for this very special talk. Today we have got a very special guest from Brahmakumari's Rajayoga Foundation from Mount Abu. We have Brahmakumari Didi Indira with us. So it gives me great pleasure, Didi, to welcome you on behalf of Nimhans. And Didi has got more than 30 years of her service in Brahmakumari's research, association. And she is mainly involved in teaching, value education, as well as spiritual knowledge. And I request Dr. Ramjayam to introduce Didi to the audience. Over to Ramjayam. Thank you, Didi. We are looking forward to listen to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, just a second. Namaste and good evening to all of you. So I take a great pleasure in introducing Indra Didi to all of you. And before we start, we apologize that initially it was planned that Sheilu Didi would be taking the sessions, and in fact we have circulated to all of you that Sheilu Didi would be handling the session. But we all know man proposes and God disposes. We plan something, but God has his own plan. In fact, it's a kind of blessings in disguise, I would say. God himself has chosen Indra Didi instead of Sheilu Didi today to be with us. So let me just give a brief biodata about Indra Didi. So Indra Didi has a master's dual degree in both mathematics and also master's in value education and spirituality. She is based at Brahmakumari's headquarters, Pandavavan, Mount Abu, Rajasthan. She is a dedicated sister rendering godly services for the past 35 years. She is a senior Rajayoga teacher and a resource person for many national conferences that happens at Mount Abu every year through various wings. She also travels widely across the globe for godly services. She has also published a book named Manobal Evam Mansa Seva. This is something very unique because we all might be knowing how to help others. Like, for example, we give food, we give money, we help others to educate, but this is something different. So Didi has collected some godly versions and made a book in the name of How We Can Do Service Through Mind. You need not go anywhere. You can even do service through mind. She has published a book also and a Sparkling of Brahmakumaris at 2001. And this is actually an outcome of her intern's research work on the principles of Raja Yoga meditation, which she has been practicing for the last 35 years. So without delaying much, I now request Indra Didi to deliver the talk. Over to you, Didi.
Thank you. and greetings from Mount Abu to each and everyone at the other end sitting there, all the dignitaries, all the doctors, and everyone, whoever is sitting there. Greetings of peace and love from the Mount Abu. And the topic that has been chosen today is really very beautiful because it is related to the values. You know, we all use these words. The topic is the caring and compassion in healing. So this word, caring and compassion, we definitely use in different ways, but sometimes maybe not having the subtle meaning of that. For the sake of saying, we simply say, yes, we should have the compassion for each other. But when we come into the practical life, or applying that compassion, that caring for the healing purpose, we need to understand actually what does it mean. So what is compassion? It is a value that is central to all healthcare. It can mean simply kindness, it can mean patience, it can mean generosity, it can mean respect and understanding, but it is unconditional love. It is only when we have the unconditional love that vibrations of the compassion flows from us to others, to the atmosphere also. So in the healthcare professionals, how do we maintain being compassionate in our daily work without feeling run down ourselves? What we do uh, most of the time, what happens whenever a patient goes to the doctor, what happens? The doctor is sitting on the chair and on the one side of the table, and the patient sits on the other side of the table. Okay, and then the doctor just gives the signal to tell what is your problem. And when the patient starts saying the problem, generally what happens? Patient is talking from his heart and he's expecting that what I am talking, the doctor should listen very carefully. But sometimes, you know what happens? I don't know that sometimes many people say that whenever we go to doctor, they keep quiet, that is good, but the rays that they vibrate from their quiet face, it's that doesn't give us a feeling of belongingness, that they are just having some feeling for us. So, in a practical way, we should radiate that compassionate, and that is what I said that it is unconditional love. I should radiate, and then when I radiate that unconditional love, and when the patient is describing me his illness, what happens? He feels that he is being respected, his feelings are being respected, accepted, and accordingly, the doctor is going to heal me. So, what we say actually, there are three terms. One is sympathy, another is empathy, and third one is interpathy. So, showing sympathy towards another person's suffering is actually acknowledging their suffering. For example, sometimes we say, I'm sorry that you have broken your arm. You know, we recognize that you are injured or ill without really engaging at a feeling level. So this is sympathy. But there is another term which is called empathy. And empathy is when we literally share a feeling with someone. We walk in their shoes. For example, I feel really upset that you are so depressed about losing your job. But this can bring great comfort to the other, means the patient. But we are empathizing with, but the comfort to them can be at our expense. will leave us feel drained. So if we identify too closely with them, it can also make it difficult for us to help them. And therefore, the third word, interpathy, an expansion of empathy, is a word called interpathy, where what we do, we relate to another's suffering through, although we may not understand what they are suffering. This may be because they are from a different culture or because their sufferings or their feelings may seem inappropriate given the situation. But we are curious. We try to understand. In doing so, we reach a point of contact that is therapeutic in itself. So, the moment the person, the patient, is sitting on the other side of the table, and one side is the doctor, and another side is the patient, and this, when we apply this interpathy, the patient feel eye to eye contact also. Patient feel the what we are radiating, what we are feeling for him or her. He feels that we are radiating our vibrations towards them. And from that point itself, the healing starts. From that point itself, the caring of the patient starts. But for that I should radiate that compassion. I should have that unconditional love. I should have the patience. What is needed? Because all these are the core values of the human life. So, in order to help others, we need to first help ourselves. Throughout the day, we use the word self. We say myself, thyself, yourself. People say one should live a life with self respect. One should live a life of self esteem. One should have the self empowerment, self development. And every time when we use the word self, just like self respect, self confidence, self esteem, or self empowerment, and in Hindi, there is a beautiful word for self, and that is Atma. And that is when we ask, what is what is the Hindi word for self confidence? The answer will be Atma Vishwas. What is the Hindi word for self-respect? The answer will be Atma Samman. What is the Hindi word for self-empowerment? Answer will be Atma Sashaktikan. What is the Hindi word for self-development? Answer will be Atma Vikas. So it shows the self is equivalent to Atma. And we know that this life is a combination of two energies. What are those two energies? One is physical and another is spiritual. That spiritual energy itself is being termed as the soul or self or psyche, whatever name we can give it to, but it is ultimately a spiritual energy. And this word, the self itself, defines what is this spiritual energy. How do we spell the self? SELF, and which means spiritual energy in life form. So when we say the life is a combination of two energies, one is the physical energy, another is the spiritual energy. So what is the physical energy? Physical energy means this 5 feet long body, which is made of flesh and skeleton. But in that body, this spiritual energy in the form of light, and definitely the spiritual light, not physical light. It is flowing, and that is how this body which is the flesh and skeleton, it is working. Tell me, when a doctor performs an operation on a patient in an operation theater, so before the doctor performs operation of a patient in operation theater, he is not in the theater, patient is out. He has to get ready to go inside the operation theater. And so once he gets ready and the doctor asks the nurse, sister, take the patient inside. And the patient is taken inside the operation theater. And doctor performs whatever he has to perform to cure that person under the name of operation. And suppose that operation, he did his best, but maybe the fortune of that patient that while performing the operation itself, patient left the body and then no more to do anything on that patient. And then you know what happens? We have to take out. But when that we have to take out, now he is no more patient. And so doctor says to the sister, sister, take the body out. When it was to take in, it was said, take the patient in. And now when it is the turn to take out, what they are saying to the sister, take the body out. Why? What difference has come? When it was going in, it was patient, and when it is coming out of its body, because that is spiritual energy, which is known as self, which is known as soul, source of unique light. And that light has gone out of that body, and therefore that is merely a body. But when that light was in the body, that was not merely a body. That time it was a person. And so what I'm trying to tell you, that compassion really, that intervention really can come when we love ourselves unconditionally first. In order to have the love and compassion and the healing and caring values for others, all that is needed for ourselves first. And that is why we need to understand the self first. And this is what I told you, what is self. And that self, it itself is a source of all the values, spiritual values. Just like, in the sky, the moon shines and the moon gives the light. But together with the light, moon light has the value of fullness. So that is the core property of the moon. Just like the sun shines in the sky. So definitely sun is also a light. But together with that light, what else the sun gives? Sun gives the heat also. In the same way, this spiritual energy in the form of light, it is not merely a light, but it also has these values. The value of love, happiness, purity, power, compassion, all these values are inherent in that light. So we need to allow that light to flow in our body, to flow to the other person whom I'm in contact or in relation or whom I'm treating. That energy should flow from me to others. But many a times we find it difficult. Theoretically, we can understand, yes, we should have the love and compassion for others. But when it is the time to come into put that into practice, because I myself is not in that state of love and compassion, how I can radiate that? So why, when I am the the spiritual light, energy, and source of all these values which are needed actually not only in the healthcare, in the health profession, but everywhere in the whole world, whichever profession we are, whichever task we are performing, whether we are at home, whether we are at workshop, whether we are at the shop, whether we are at the dispensary or the clinic or operation theater or college or university, wherever we are, all values are needed. And theoretically, everybody understands, no doubt. But where everybody gets stuck, even though I know, but I know that why it is not getting radiating from me. What is the reason behind that? And the reason is very simple. What is the reason? We always keep ourselves under stress. Nowadays, this has become the fashion. People keep themselves too much busy, overloaded. Sometimes doctors say number of patients are so many, and also the work is too much, and all that overloading and the number of patients which are increasing day by day and coming to us creates the stress and us. And because of that stress, a lot of negativity gets immersed. Uh, in the name of stress, really what we get, we become heated. Just let me give the example of mobile. When you have the mobile in your hand, we can check how much it is charged or discharged because that glass type icon is there, and from there we can come to know that how much it is charged. And sometimes figuratively also it has been displayed there. But suppose I am calling someone, so holding the phone like that, and that time I'm not watching that what is the percentage of the battery charging. So while talking, the holding the phone like this and talking to the other person, if I start feeling when I'm holding the phone, and especially the that area of the phone where the battery is, so if I feel that area heated, I come to know that battery is getting discharged. But still I'm continuously talking to that person. Okay, so because the battery is getting discharged and I'm continuously talking, the strength becomes weak, and the strength becomes weak, the volume goes down, and as a result, whatever I'm talking, whatever the other person is listening, he is not listening what I'm exactly saying. Bit by bit, there is a break in between. I speak few words, then there is a break, then other words that the other person at the other end listens. And same happens with me. What she is speaking, other person, he or she, it comes bit by bit. So there is a some gap in between the two words or three words. And if I'm still continuously talking to the other person, and because battery is about to discharge, it gets completely discharged and we get disconnected. So what happened because of the battery discharge? One thing, the heat, the hotness I felt. Second, we created misunderstanding because we didn't hear each other properly. And third, we got disconnected with a misunderstanding. And now, when we got separated with a misunderstanding, it takes a time to bring back that relationship as it was to the normal because we have developed misunderstanding for each other. So this was just example of mobile, but in case of the life also, the battery of the life is also getting charged. From where we can come to know this? Our own situation, our own condition, mental conditions in the situations of the life. A small thing, we get irritated, we get worried, we get tense, we get stressed, we get a feeling of hatredness, we get a feeling of jealousy. So all this make me feel hot inside. And the second, you know, in the dialogue between the two persons, after every 2 3 days, there is a common sentence which gets repeated. And what is that common sentence? Why do you understand me? And the other person also says, why don't you understand me? And if it keeps on a little longer, then we get disconnect. So this is the sign that our battery of the self is getting this the life battery is getting discharged. And so what is needed for that? For that is needed charging the battery. And for charging the battery is nothing but seeing the self as the self. Just like see the sun in the sky. The sun in the sky is shining. It is radiating light as well as heat. But just now in here in Mount Abu, we are having the heavy rain. But at the moment it is stopped. Morning it rained very heavily. So the sky is flooded with the clouds, and that too dark black clouds. And so it is difficult to see the sun and difficult to feel the sun's heat or the sun's light the same way because our battery is discharged, and because of that battery discharging, just like the mobile phone is discharged when it is about to, after 50% actually, it starts emitting the harmful radiations. Similarly, the battery of the life also, when it gets discharged, it emits harmful vibrations in the name of irritation, in the name of worry, in the name of uh, disrespect for others, not caring for others, and not looking at others in a way we should see the others. So, this is actually what gives the vibrations which are opposite to our own original values of the love and compassion. So, we need to clear that. Unless the clouds get turned into rain and shower, that clouds will remain there. So, what we need to do, we need to drop all the negativity. And this thing also everybody knows. It is not new thing. They say when the patient went to doctor, and every time the doctor he used to go to doctor, and doctor used to give the some medicine, and again after 2 3 days the patient comes to back to the doctor, and he says, doctor, I took the medicine that you prescribed me, but doctor, that much whatever I expected, that this much relief should be there, it was not there. And again doctor says, okay, this time I'm going to change the medicine or the dose, whatever, and he gives the instruction also that keep yourself keep calm, don't get tense. So it happened 3 4 times that every time the patient came to the doctor, and doctor gave the medicines, and he went back. Also that instruction that don't get stressed or tense, and again he came back, again doctor changed the medicines, again he went. So it happened 3 4 5 times. And after that 5 times, again when he came, again he said, doctor, it is fifth time I'm coming back to you, but I'm not having the relief. And doctor this time shouts at the patient, how many times I have told you not to be stressed, not to get tense, but you are not stopping your tension. You are always in a tense stress. This time the patient also lost his patience, and he says, doctor, but you never told me how to be free from tension, how to be free from stress. And that is the reason I couldn't keep myself away from the stress or tension. Please suggest me the remedy for that also. So this is what. So when we are treating others, it is not only having the competence. In the healthcare profession, what they are doing, lot of skills, arts are being teaching, the the staff are being trained, but the another side of this life is, I told, not only we have to treat the body, we have to treat the self also. And that is treating self is the compassion, radiating the compassion. So just like we develop the skill and art, how to handle the physical body and how to choose the correct medicine for the patient's sickness, all these things that we learn, we need to learn also how to tackle the other person's feelings also, the self also. And that is where I said you, I need to understand the self first. That is what I was telling you, that is spiritual energy in the light form, which is flowing in the whole body. And but that I also told you that energy is full of all the virtues, values, the patience, love, kindness, compassion. But even then, we are not feeling, because in between there is the cloud of this negativity in the name of disrespecting others and not paying attention towards, not understanding the feelings of others. So really, the patient needs to expect from the doctor, expects from the healer, that they should understand us properly. Not only the physical body problem, but feel what type of suffering we are going through. So if the doctor himself is free from negativity, it is free from the clouds, then the sun of the self will radiate that vibration of the compassion and the love. And then they will be get cured. But for that, what we need to do? What we need to do? We need to charge ourselves, the self. And what is the method to charge ourselves to get free from this negativity? Just focusing our attention on that, the spiritual energy which is known as self, which is in the form of light, which I told it's running in the whole body. So we need to practice focusing our attention towards that energy which is flowing inside the body. Feel that energy, that it is because of that energy this body is functioning. See, inside the body, there are so many parts of the body, just like pancreas, heart, lung, stomach, and many more parts are there. You being a doctor, you know very well. And an ordinary person, a layman person, suppose a person from the village, he don't even know the parts of the body, what is inside. But still, without knowing all that, the body is functioning. Whether it is a person who knows about the body parts or a person who doesn't know, in both cases, not a single part of the body takes the permission from us for their function. Not a single part of the body takes the permission from us. They are functioning automatically with the help of that spiritual light. That is how, when that spiritual energy, that self, goes away out from the body, and when we patient's body, and how we declare that patient is now no more, or it is the dead body, the every part slowly becomes dead. So that energy which is making this body live and making the each part of the body functioning, we need to feel that energy, that light which is flowing inside the body. Just focus on that light. Even though it is invisible, but still we can imagine it. It is a spiritual light, so definitely it is invisible, but we can experience it and feel that all energy running in the. And now slowly feel that all that energy is flowing, gathering at one point in the middle of the forest, in the form of a star, a living star, a spiritual star, and see that star. See from that light, that star light is coming out, different rays are coming out, and together with that different rays, all these values of love, patience, kindness, compassion is also flowing out. So when we do such practice, even for a second or a minute, every hour, it is just like I am charging myself and getting free from my negativity. And when I will get free from my negativity, I get charged up. I charge my battery, I charge myself, then it will automatically radiate. Just like I gave the example of mobile, when it was about to discharge, after 50%, it starts radiating harmful radiation. But when it reaches about to discharge, it radiates the harmful radiation in a huge quantity. And that is why it is always suggested not to allow your mobile battery to discharge completely. Before that, your mobile battery gets discharged completely. Before that, you should recharge it. So, what I'm telling you, same way, when we keep ourselves charged, suppose I charge for a second or a minute, now it will continue for next 20, 30 minutes. But slowly, slowly then it will also get towards the discharging. And so it will start radiating the values which the opposite of these values. So if we develop this practice every hour, charging the self, and charging self means you have to separate yourself from the body. And how to separate? Instead of visualizing the body, just visualize that light which is flowing in the body. Merely see yourself as a body of the body of light, and then focus at one point. You may focus here, in between the two eyes, at the middle of the forehead, where we apply the filler. So this making the distance from the body, separating the yourself from the body, it itself gives the rest to the self. And in that self, the rest, the self starts radiating those cells. And once you do this practice, and then you come into your workplace, whoever is coming in contact with you, the patients or the staff of your medical college or the university or the whatever it is, dispensary, whoever is coming in contact, you keep on radiating those waves, that vibrations of compassion. And the other person's healing will happen with that. That and then and there, the healing process starts. And because of this, I'm able to love, the radiate those vibrations of love and compassion. I also see others in that form of light and can teach a little bit of that to the patient also. That it is not merely the medicines or the drugs or any kind of surgery. It is not merely going to, it is definitely going to help you, but there is the contribution of this spiritual energy also. So teach them a little bit, just like I told you now, a little bit of this awareness about yourself. You should have yourself and also create that awareness in the patients whom you are healing, for whom you are instrument to heal them, to cure them. You need to use some understanding about this self to others and ask them that the, the energy, the healing energy, the unconditional love, the compassion, the patience, all these values are with you. Simply, what you have to do, you have to focus your attention on that spiritual light, that energy. So if you give, just like many other trainings you are giving to others, even in the name of patient also, you give them training also, that at this time you have to take your BP, the reading of the glucose, when some person have the diabetes and you have to eat this much and you don't have to do's and don'ts, so many do's and don'ts we give the patients also. So if you inculcate this little thing also, because life is a combination of two energies. So if you are not going to heal both, you cannot get the result. When you heal physically, you expect that it should get healed completely. But what we are saying, the efforts we have put in the to cure the physical body, but the result that we are getting, it is not to that amount that which we have put in efforts. And therefore, we need to focus on both. The scale, in a scale, the two scales are on the same level first. And suppose you are putting something on the one side of the scale because you want to weigh, and on the other side you have to put the weight. But suppose by mistake you are not putting the weight on the another side of the scale, but on one side only you are putting the things which you are going to measure, which you are going to weigh. And one by one, one by one, one by one, one by one, you are adding, and you forgot totally to put on the other side of the scale weight. So what will happen? At the beginning, the two sides of the scales were at the same level. But when you are putting in one side and not on the other side, a imbalance starts getting created. And if you are not paying attention on the other side of the scale, just putting on one side, this imbalance day by day increases like this, increases. And one day, one time that what the scale will, what will happen with that scale? It will fall down. And when it falls down, whatever you were weighing, it will also become useless. So many things happen. Once the scale with lot of weight all of a sudden falls on the floor can also break. And if there is dust, that dust can mix with the things that you are weighing. So that you will lose that also. And why it happened? Only because of imbalance. So what is happening in the life? Life is a combination of two energies, but we are simply focusing on one side, and day by day, a big imbalance has got created. And to balance this imbalance, again, to lower down this imbalance, we need to pay attention and focus. So when you are seeing your patients, when you are operating on the patient's body, we need to focus on hope, because it is not merely a body, human being. It is a human being. Where human means it comes from the human, humus means the soil, and being is indicating that spiritual energy, that self. So when we are the combination of two energies, we need to pay attention and hope. Then only we can really radiate compassion, not towards others first, and myself, because the self itself is a source of all these values, and the soul is inside the body in the form of light. The self is in the form of light. So that light, full of all virtues, values, will flow in the body, and that itself has got the healing properties, and that will heal. Definitely, some part of the medicine and drugs is also there. I'm not saying that, but both have their role, not a single. And when you will pay attention on both, then the caring and healing will become a easy task. You know, when the patient come to doctor, always they have the saying for the doctor: doctor is next to the God, isn't it? People say. And what is the God? How do you remember the God? We say He's the ocean of compassion. He's the ocean of love. He's the ocean of happiness. He's the ocean of purity. We praise Him like that. And when we are saying doctors are next to the God, what does it mean? We also need to be means to be having the same qualities the God has. Isn't it true? Yes, definitely. All the patients, whoever goes to doctor, they have that feeling is next to doctor, and they have the full faith. They surrender themselves in front of the doctor. And so it is our duty that we also play a little bit part as like the children of God. Not at least God is, but at least children of God. Because whatever the Father has qualities, a little bit of that children should also have. So we being the called as the next doctor, so that feelings, that values of compassion, the patience, and the kindness that intervene here, we should have. And that is not developing from outside, it is inside. You know, there was a sculptor from the Italy, Michelangelo, and he used to create the beautiful idols from the stones and the rocks. And people used to praise him a lot. What a beautiful idol you have created. And you know what his answer was? Always he says, no, I haven't created that idol, the murti. No, it was there itself. What I did, I just in my visualization had that murti first, and accordingly on that rock or the piece of stone, whatever he was given, I put the sketch with the help of pencil or whatever, and after that I took my hammer and whatever other weapons, and I started removing whatever is there apart from which is not the part of the idol. I just removed the unnecessary part, and the idol is there. I haven't created the idol. I just removed it, unnecessary part from that stone, which was covering that idol. Same way, this negativities, the worry, tension, disrespect, neglecting others, not understanding the other's feeling, always having on the position what these little questions are coming and they are consuming our lot of time. No, the main thing what they need from us is time. When we a little bit of time we uh, pay for them, in that little time we can radiate from our face, from our action. Just if you hold their hand with lot of compassion, with lot of love, just you put your hand on them, on their shoulder. Don't worry, you are going to get cured. You are in the right hand. Just you remember God also, and you just give a little bit of what I told about the knowledge of the self, and ask them to practice that also, and that will be your compassion towards that patient, and that will do the healing itself. We don't have to do. See, sun is there. It is giving the heat. It is giving the light. We only have to clear the path. Suppose I'm here and sun is above in the sky, but in between there are the clouds. I have to just clear those clouds. Similarly, I myself is a source of compassion. Just drop the negativity. And how to drop the negativity? Just see yourself just like a sculptor sees that image of a murti. Maybe it is a murti of Durga, Ganesh, whatever. He just imagines first and then accordingly he puts the sketch there on the stone and everything else he removes. Just remind yourself, sit with yourself for a few minutes and see your own image. Just like I told you, you are a spiritual energy. Even though this spiritual energy is flowing in the whole body, but that is just like the sun rays are coming down. But sun itself is a source, a round ball like a ball. And from that source, the rays are coming out. Similarly, that cell is a point of light here inside where we apply tilak, not properly exactly here, but inside, visualize yourself. And from that, that rays are emerging out. All others, you just bring in your imagination. And that is removing the unnecessary. And when you do like that, you will feel because what you have imagined, that will come into action now when you come into the real practical field or workplace. So this is the way to heal the patients. This is the way to cure the patients. This is the way to have the caring attitudes towards the patients. And then only really the patient will become free from their sicknesses. See, nowadays, a lot of research work, lot of instrumentation, or even, the operation. Nowadays, they have developed the techniques. Not even they have to make what you call, चीरा भी नहीं लगाना है, सीजर का भी यूज नहीं करना है. Without that, through the laser rays, they are doing operations. Means what I'm trying to say that very sophisticated the instruments also have been developed, and so many what they call super specialty hospitals. If you go to the hospital, because nowadays if you go as a patient, if you are going to the doctor, he will say have this test, have that test, so many tests, and for each test there is a different department, and for going to the different department for a patient is difficult. So nowadays they are building the super specialty hospital. So once you enter that hospital, whatever doctor is prescribing you, inside that building only you will be getting all facilities. Isn't that like that? This much. But is it real success? Real success, we can only feel that it is a real success. Day by day, number of hospitals should reduce. Day by day, number of illnesses should reduce. Day by day, number of medicines should reduce. Then only we say the medical field has achieved a great success. Isn't that true? See, we are creating the super specialty hospitals, so many sophisticated instrumentations, everything. But why the disease is increasing? Why the number of patients are increasing? So that is showing that we are not really getting cured. And only reason is that we are curing only one aspect of life, not the another aspect of life. And the another aspect is the self. Self, human plus being is equal to human being. So not only treat the body, the human which is made of oil, just like we say the body is made up of five elements, we say in generally. So not only treat that body, but treat the self also. But before we treat others, we need to treat ourselves. And so for that, we should know what is self and how to charge it, how to, it itself is a source of compassion, the love, but some unnecessary things, they are covering it. And I need to remove that. And for removing, just have that drishti of a sculptor, how he sees in a piece of stone, in a piece of rock, that beautiful image, and he draws there and removes all the unnecessary, and the image is there. So in our case, I should have the knowledge of myself and accordingly start visualizing that self and see how those values are getting radiated in the form of vibrations from me. And I don't have to say that that is radiating from me to others. No. It is the source, from source it will come. Just you have to practice it. And then definitely the patient will get cured. He will feel that my healer, my doctor has now given me a new approach towards curing the my illness. And that will be a big achievement. And very soon, if we apply this method, that we have to focus on both the aspects of life while curing the patient, while healing the patients, then there is the day is not far away that we will be having this planet free of patients, free of diseases. Everyone will be enjoying a healthy body. Not only healthy body, health, wealth, and happiness. Everyone will be enjoying. You know, the famous scientist Nikola Tesla, he said, if you want to understand the secrets of life, you need to understand everything in terms of frequency and vibration. So when you focus your attention towards self, you will understand how that energy is radiating the vibrations. So values are nothing but a particular frequency, and vices are nothing but the what you call distorted frequencies. So in order to remove those distorted frequencies, we need to play our right frequency. So always be in that frequency. And to be in that frequency, you need to focus here on the self. And it can be done anytime, anywhere. For that, I can't say I don't have time. How can do I here? No, anytime. 1 minute time. Anybody can strict while being busy in their profession or in the workshop or in the house, wherever they are. 1 minute. Just for drinking the, they say, एक चुस्की चाय की हो जाए. They take out the time for that. Why not for this 1 minute we can take out? So we can do that. So then compassion will play a big role in that healing. And the doctors who are supposed, is not supposed, everybody has that vision for doctors, that doctors are next to God, and really the patients will be having that great feeling when you really heal them with lot of caring and compassion. They will really respect you. They definitely they respect you, but their that intensity will get intensified. Oh, he's not doctor, he's God. Isn't that true? Huh? You are really next to doctor and next to God. So with this feeling that you are next to doctor and next to God, you definitely, with a little bit of understanding self, start radiating that unconditional love, compassion, and everything get in the right place. Your patience will become pure. Okay, once more, little practice. See the spiritual energy and the light form flowing in the entire body. And that spiritual light has a soul. And that soul is in the form of point, a point of light, cell. So see yourself as a spiritual star in the middle of the forehead and don't visualize anything else. I am mere a spiritual star radiating light, and together with light, just as sun radiates heat, just as moon radiates coolness, similarly I, the spiritual star, together with radiating the light, I am radiating the love, I am radiating the kindness, I am radiating the happiness, I am radiating compassion. I myself feel, I have such a feeling which cannot be described in words. What word I will use myself when I'm radiating that compassion, that bliss, that happiness? A stage which cannot be described in words beyond description. And maintain that stage. And with that stage, come into your action, come into your field, and that will automatically get radiated. Because I already told, when battery is charged, apps are functioning automatically. It will work. With these words, I finish my talk. Om Shanti.
Thank you very much, Didi. I think it was not just only a theory, but parallelly you have made us to practice also. I think the practices are also very simple. Just if we can take few minutes, like once in 2 hours or 3 hours in a day, it will make a lot of difference. I think we need to practice and experience that rather than just listening and then leaving it here itself. Let's all practice this, understand that we are a human being, not just humans. Yeah, thank you very much, Didi, for your wisdom and also the practices that you have given to us. Thank you. And thanks for all the participants. See you.
Thank you.
We'll close the meeting here. If anybody has any questions, maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions. You can unmute and talk.
Didi, thank you for that lecture. One question what I have is like, when will be the caring hands will become the healing hands?
Yes, repeat your question, please.
When will the hands which are caring for the patients will be turned into healing hands?
Yeah, it is only together with the hands that healing energy, which is actually spiritual energy, also flows from each and every part of my body. And that will flow only when I'm in that awareness that I'm a spiritual energy. So being, that is what we call having the consciousness of the pure one, that I'm a pure consciousness. I'm a self, I'm a soul, I'm not a human, I'm a being. So in that, just being in that awareness, that energy flows in the entire body. I told it is the energy flows, it is only clouds. So when we are not in the awareness, clouds are there. But when we are in that awareness, that clouds disappears, scattered, and that energy flows not only outside me but inside this body also. Definitely, when that caring hand will touch the patient, will heal the patient.
Thank you, Didi, for the wonderful answer. Yeah, the more we practice that awareness, I think whatever simple physical gestures that we do, even that also can be a medium of healing. Yes, yes. Thank you very much, and thanks all the participants for joining today. Thank you once again, Didi. Shanti.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.